Yo, what's up? Lord Swine back here again. Today we're looking at how to beat 2B. She's the newest character in the game and she is very strong. I think that this character has brought a lot of cool things to the game, but she's also quite polarizing. She has a lot of options that can make people kind of overwhelmed. So we're going to try and explain the best way to kind of tackle that in this video. She comes to the game with incredibly good movement. She has a really good backdash and a really good running run move, which has the parry baked into it. She lacks a 6XL, but I think you don't need it when you look at her 5M. I think this move is amazing. It pretty much is a 6XL one in itself. It's a frame slower. Yeah, no, she's got a lot of good about her. I don't think this character's bad at all. So yeah, this will be my guide on how to tackle her, really, basically. Yeah, if you like content like this, be sure to like, sub and share with all your friends. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any future content if you're already subscribed. I'm going to link my playlist again above, just like I do in all my other videos. I'm slowly working my way through all the cast, kind of tackling all the characters people might have an issue with. But yeah, no, let's just get into it. Okay, so 2B in the neutral. She's listed as a rushdown style character, and don't get me wrong, she has some pretty decent rushdown stuff. So she can do this, she can stay plus, she can do this, she can bait throws, she can do this move here and like catch you doing something, and obviously she's plus as it connects. So she does have stuff, but I actually think her optimal range is here. I think she's more of a mid-screen sort of like whiff punishy style character, with moves like this, and obviously this button here. So I think that's really kind of where you're gonna see 2B's trying to play. So it's why she's very hard to kind of like get on, because she has an amazing anti-air, so she can't really jump. She's good at controlling the sky because she has this stall move, and she's just got good buttons to keep you out. So you've kind of really just got to start forcing her to the corner. You've got to try, and if she's doing like her whiff cancelable normals, it's very hard to whiff punish her, so you kind of need to have a plan to kind of deal with that. 2B has a good way of dealing with it. If they're just whiffing stuff in the neutral, you can just do the grappling hook and get a combo, but obviously not every character is as privileged in the sense that they have that move. So you kind of want to like think of other ways to get around it. Oh, she's like doing this. That's one way to do it. That wasn't even a punish. That shows you how silly this is. So you can catch them in the middle. Just sort of like figure it out. Like, it depends what they're kind of doing in the neutral. You kind of want them to start playing more honest. I'll go into anti-airs in a bit, because you got anti-air to be a little bit differently. But when you're kind of like jumping, when 2B's jumping at you, you kind of want to be able to meet her in the air and push her back. So I'll go into that a little bit further in the guide. But yeah, when you have her in the corner, this is where she's at her weakest. She has a 6-frame button. She doesn't have any 5-frame buttons, so she struggles a little bit. This is still pretty nice range. It's similar to Nemaya's, where it can cancel from the furthest distance. Obviously, it can be whiff cancelled as well, which is quite nice for 2B. Also, she only has a metered DP, so keep an eye on the meter. I'll go into the DP a little bit. I'll pretty much cover the same thing, I reckon. It's just when she has 50 meter, you just need to make sure that you're playing around the DP, because there's a good chance that it'll hit you. So that's kind of how you want to like play against 2B in the neutral, and hopefully by learning what I'll teach you in the guide about some of her special moves, you'll have a better idea on how to counter what she may or may not try, because she has a lot of options which can feel overwhelming to the player. Alright, so the thing we're going to look at is parry. Parry is really good for getting out of pressure for 2B. If she's doing in pressure and she backs off, it costs her 4 skill bars. That's something to bear in mind, but in the neutral it doesn't cost her anything for some reason. If she does it forward, she gets this little run dash, and she can use that to break up and reset pressure, maybe go for a grab, maybe she can run in and start doing her pressure and stuff like that, so it's something to bear in mind. On backdash, from the backdash version, it's -42, so if she's doing this in the corner, you should be punishing her for it. There should be no excuse. And if she's doing a forward run, it's -20, so it's a little bit harder to punish. Consequently, the forward run version, the parry that comes with it, doesn't come out as quickly. And the backdash version lasts a little bit longer, so you can kind of catch stuff. The way the move kind of works is, if your opponent is coming in and you do the parry, it kind of treats the move as if the move was whiffed. So 2B will be great against their own moves because of the whiff cancelable normals, but that's just 2B. It does have a follow-up if you are so inclined as the 2B player. if she presses the button again, this is the only way you can securely always get punishes if an opponent's pressing something. Obviously the damage isn't great, but obviously it'd be really good to like close out rounds. It is invincible though, so it's invincible for like frames 117 I think, but if the 2B player blocks it, then if you block it, then you can punish her. It's like -12 or something like that. So if you see that move and you punish it, then be prepared to do that. But I think the area where this becomes the biggest issue is guard cancels. So you need to be really careful when you guard cancel 2B. So for example, if she's running up and doing this move, so for example if she runs up and does the move and then you guard cancel, so for example if she runs up and does the move, and guard cancel at the wrong time, she can actually parry your guard cancel, and then that actually leaves you disadvantaged by -5. Obviously, it can vary depending on the timing you did, but that is just that's the forward, the back version. She can also do this on the forward version. As you can see, she did the run forward, but she's still got the parry. So it's really important to either parry her when she's about here, or wait until she's committed to one of the many enders, and then you want to do the guard cancel. But even then, she can then do it off that. So it is really like quite risky to do it, depending on what kind of a player you're facing against. So sometimes it might be better to wait until she has committed to something a little bit more bigger, or something she can't actually cancel her normals into. So she can't cancel her normals into that, for example. So I think that's the strongest thing about the move. Also, if they're jumping in on you, this is another thing that you all might struggle to deal with. So you can get the parry there as well. This is another really good time to kind of deal with it. So that's why jumping on it can be a little bit rough sometimes. The only way to really kind of deal with this is to empty jump in, and then try and bait her on the retreat. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, but it's not used too much, I'd say. I think over time it might pick up a little bit. I think also it can't be used in pressure quite the same way that other characters can use there, like Bilal can use his parry in pressure. She can't use her parry in pressure, she'll get blown up for trying. But yeah, that's the parry basically. Another thing I kind of want to talk about on the parry is this move, because this move is incredibly fast. When she enters this state, it's not easy for her to get out, so she takes ages to guard, as you can see, and she's in a counter hit state. So if the 2B runs at me like now, you can kind of get a nice easy punish. It's very hard for 2B to kind of stop, so if you see it coming, you know, it's not too hard to worry about. So obviously it is very fast, so that's something to bear in mind. So if you whiff something, 2B can get ill on you quite easily, but just play very patiently against her, like I was saying, and if she does try to do this, you can tag her fairly easily. She can back off into her other parry, which I'll show you now, but even then, it's still, as long as you're on point, you should catch her doing that, because she shouldn't be able to get away with it so freely. So she does it like now, she sees she goes back, but like I see it coming, it's not too bad. You have to really like be late to miss it. So you'll see her come in there. It's fairly simple once you know she's going to try and do it. But yeah, that's it pretty much. They're the parry series. Her parry is good in situations, but it's not like the trump card I thought it was going to be on the trailer. Alright, so we're going to go over her target series. I'll just break it down into light, medium and heavy. So we'll start with the light. If she does the full light series, she gets this ender here. It's fully true, so you can't press any buttons in between. It leaves a -6 at this spacing, so she's safe at this range. If she does stop here though, she is -6, so you can get a punish on her. But be aware, she can cancel it and she can frame trap you, so it's only if you see a 2B just not finishing your string. Then these moves can chain into different enders depending on the last button you press, so you don't have to press light. So if you do the full chain and then go into medium, it prints out this move. I'll go into the enders in a little bit. I'll just talk about these first and then we'll cover the enders, because the enders are a little bit more nuanced. She can also go into this if she holds heavy, which is another move which is a specific ender. But that's it for the light series. We'll go over the medium series. Now every single version of this is unsafe, all the way up to the last ender. Even the last ender is unsafe. She's completely unsafe. She decides to just commit to the whole thing. So if you see any 2Bs trying to do this, or like, you know, reset pressure like that, you can punish them for doing it. They're -8 and they're right in your face, so don't let them get away with that. Obviously, yeah, they can special cancel all the way up to spiral stored, so just be aware of that. And her enders on this one are the same as the light version. She has this version, and she also has a different one this time, which is this move, big spirally move, which leaves her -15. It's usually just a combo ender rather than an actual like block string move, but some 2Bs might accidentally do it, so be aware. It does look very similar to the ender of the medium version, which is -8. The way you tell the difference is this version here just goes spiral straight away, but the ender has a little bit of a wind up. It leaves a -15. It's the same distance, can be hard to tell, but just have a quick 8-frame punish and you'll get both of them. Alright, so let's go over the heavy version. This version you're probably only going to see at this range. You're not going to see it up close in your face, but if you do, it is obviously minus all the way through to the end. She can't cancel that big cleave at the end, so be aware if you see that, then she's -10 in your face. But like I said, she shouldn't be doing this in your face anyway. They tend to space it out to use hammer. The enders for this one are the big cleave move again that fires the projectile, and the other move again, which is -15 in your face. So the only way she really has to end this string safely is by cancelling it into pod, or by trying to back off with her dash. So be aware, if she is stopping and trying to reset pressure with this, from close range you can get a good punish on her. Alright, so now I'm going to go over the enders. Alright, so now I'm going to go over her enders. I'm going to start with this one here because I think it's the easiest to explain. This one's essentially just a pressure reset. If they time this well, they can get plus claims, but if they mistime it, then they end up being -10. However, this is a frame trap. If you try press a button between it, you can get blown up for it. You can't get a combo unless this connects and you press the button at the time, which wall bounces, so it has to be in the corner. But the way you deal with this is very easy. Because there's no way for 2B to keep herself safe after this, she literally has committed. The minute you see the reel back, you can just invincible reversal. See, not every character in the game has a meatless one, so that's a bit of a pain. But if you have one, you can literally just invincible reversal. The minute you see that reel back, then you know it's coming. And as I said, it comes from light series, and it comes from heavy series. So if you see the medium version, it isn't going to happen. So yeah, this is literally how you deal with this move. It's very simple. Right, so now we're going to go over 2B's best ender, which is this version here. It leaves a spaced out -3, which is obviously very good. It baits DPs, it catches mashing, it's very, very good. Doesn't do much damage though, mind you, so that's something to bear in mind. If you have a lot of health, it might be worth taking the risk, because you're not actually going to get hurt too much off this. But the best way to beat this is if a 2B continuously keeps using this move, is you can roll through it. And by rolling through it, you can punish 2B. If you've done it perfectly, 2B will be -8 by the time you finish your roll, so it's a really great way to kind of deal with it. However, 2B can do this instead. She can hold the button down and she can bait you out for trying to roll through, and if you roll through, then you actually become punished because you end up being -8. So I'll show you that now. 2B's 2M is also 8 frames, so it's actually really good for punishing this situation. And obviously she cancels into Raging Strike, she can then get a combo. If she's in the corner, she can go into one of her moves and then get a full corner combo. So it's not very good. It's not very good to get caught by this. So there are some ways you can kind of deal with it. If you know 2B is going to try space you out instead of actually doing the projectile, you could do this move. Obviously this is 2B's 5M, so not everyone in the game is as privileged, but you just basically need to stick out a move that goes far. Because it's -21 frames, you can do your really slow moves, or like 2B can get her giant 14 frame heavy move off. So experiment a little bit, see what your character can do. Like I said, sometimes it's best to take the damage, because if you look at how much damage you take from the light, it really is worth risking sometimes, depending on how much health you have left. So like if I try the same thing now, I've literally taken what, like 500 damage, and I'm like, what, -4. Yeah, I'm back in the same situation I was. But if you're right, you call her out on it, you get good damage. So just bear that in mind. It is worth trying to call her out on it occasionally. However, there is one thing you can do which absolutely destroys her, depending on your character. You have to have a bit of character privilege here. 2B has that character privilege against herself. So I'll show you that now, but basically what you want to do is you want to try find a move, super, that travels forward like this, and this is really good for like catching out the end of a round maybe. I can't remember, I think Gran has a good projectile super, Gita probably does, but basically you want to try and use a move, it will cover all bases basically, and once they've committed to that move, once you see these cross swords, it doesn't matter if she decides to do this, or if she decides to, you know, not fire the projectile, she'll get killed for it, so just bear that in mind. So just to cover this basis as well, you don't really want to try jump in on her either. You can jump over the projectile, but if she baits you, then she can anti-air in time as well. So, because you can jump over the projectile anyway, it might just be a good time to kind of just disengage from the situation. Just do something like that, get out. So you don't have to deal with the projectile at all. So yeah, that's another two ways to deal with it. Obviously this move come out on the medium, the light string, and it also comes out on the medium string. So just bear that in mind. So if you see this move, you're not going to then suddenly start seeing this move. But yeah, that's pretty much how you deal with the move, to be honest with you. It's a little bit tricky, probably her best ender, but you don't have to deal with it. So basically if you see him doing this a lot, roll through. If you see them doing this a lot, try whiff punish with a big move. And if you have a super that reaches them, just destroy them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. To be a little bit different from the cast because she has the best anti-air bait in the entire game. She can obviously stall twice and go into pod. Just to let you know, if she goes into pod, she can't jump again, so she has to jump twice, then go into pod. Just bear that in mind. So if you see her go into pod, there isn't another jump coming afterwards, but she can direct where she goes at pod. She doesn't have to stay in one position. And she can also do this kick thing, which is pretty useless, but it's there, and she can also drop down. So the way you kind of want to deal with 2B when she's going to the air is you want to meet her in the air. You want to try and, so if you see a 2B jumping at you or trying to like, you know, mix you up and stuff like that with the air mobility, you kind of just want to like do a quick rising move. That's kind of the best way to deal with 2B in the air, really. Just kind of knock her out of it, keep her to the ground. That's kind of the best way. Maybe throw her, like make that your priority rather than coming to her, you know, waiting and then waiting to anti-air. Just try and go up there and actually like knock her out of what she wants to do. Also, I just want to show this sequence from pod because it's something you might see in the corner a lot. This is a true sequence, so you can't actually get through anything with your buttons. You can't like do a DP here because you get jailed into whatever combo she wants. So if you want a DP, you kind of want to have to DP after the sword hits. That's the only way to kind of really stop her from doing that, or literally once you see the cleave hit you, just guard cancel her off you. Alright, so 2B has a lot of special moves. Some of them are really good and some of them have just got more situational value. I'll run through them all, but the ones that I think that are more important to talk about I'll spend a bit more time on. So I'm just going to start with pod A because it's the easiest to explain. You literally, it's the only no skill move she has, so she can do it with no skill bar at all, and it's essentially just her safe pressure end stringer. Literally she can do it after any of her moves that don't have non-cancelable windows. So yeah, the way you kind of deal with this move is by guard breaking, and the only time I recommend doing that is in the corner. Say if they're like trying to push out with their offense and you want to just like reassert your pressure, you just want to push them back in, just use a BP point to push it back into the corner. I wouldn't recommend doing this in the mid screen because it's just a waste of BP, and I don't think they can die in that situation anyway, so there's no point. Alright, so pod B. Pod B is just a quick snipe basically. You can roll through this move and you can evade this move, and if they do it in your face you can DP through it, but to be honest with you, you're very unlikely to see it in your face. It's just a quick snipe end game, game ending move. It's 3 skill stacks for 2B, but yeah, there's not much more to say about the move. Alright, so we got the pod C. This move's really good. It costs her 5 stacks, so it's pretty expensive, but basically it leaves her plus. If she does it further away, she can get even more plus frames. But yeah, it basically is just a plus block move. It literally causes a wall bounce in the corner so she can get a combo. So if you block this, then literally just respect her pressure, or try DP for it because that will be the best option. But the move literally is just more combo fodder, block string pressure move more than anything. Alright, so then we got the laser. This move can be spot dodged and evaded on reaction, so it literally is quite easy to deal with. It's even easier because of the slowdown. This move does eat through all your projectiles, so there is that, but to be honest with you, it's mostly just combo string fodder. There isn't too much more to say about it, to be honest. Alright, so Missile is an interesting move. It's like a quick cloak in the neutral. Interesting enough, no matter where it hits, it'll always be -6. But 2B can space herself out, and then she can keep herself out of punish range. But it's a little bit tricky for the 2B player to do. So they're usually just going to see this in combo fodder more than anything. But if you see a 2B that's just doing this, she is screwed as long as you have a quick button. So just don't let her get away with it. You should make sure to always punish the 2B that is doing this. And another way to deal with Missile in the neutral is if you have an opponent who just tends to use it a lot, you can always just spot dodge it and just get a punish that way. It's pretty punishable on whiff, so using the spot dodge is a great way to kind of gauge that. But yeah, that's literally Missile. It's not too hard to deal with, but there are opponents who will blatantly fire it to try and hit you. Obviously if it's in the corner it's much worse, but in the neutral it's not too bad. Alright, so the next move we're going to talk about is Wire. Wire is probably the best anti-zoning move in the entire game. It's also one of 2B's best moves, and the best advice I can say about Wire is don't block Wire. If you block Wire, she is now +5, and that means you're in a strike throw mix 50-50. You have to guess between the throw, you have to guess between the strike. Now what I'll say to you, if you have a good amount of health and then this hits you, just guess throw. That way you're only taking a throw's worth of damage. It's better to take a throw's worth than actually get a full combo. But if you are low health, then just pray to the gods that you guess correctly, because this is very advantageous for 2B. So what we kind of really want to do is focus not getting hit by it anyway. That will be the most ideal thing. So the biggest weakness of this move is that it has really horrendous recovery. So you see it's -17. You can make it even more depending on when you do go against it. So if you obviously do it earlier, you end up being more advantageous, so +31 there. So basically the idea is you want to kind of know she's kind of go for it, because obviously they're more likely to do it at full screen. Just be ready to close the gap, run in, and then do your punish. If she does it in your face, it is 23 frames, so it's very hard to react to. So you kind of do want to spot dodge it, I guess is the answer, or evade, and then try go for a punish after. That's kind of the best way to kind of deal with it, but it's a little bit hard to tell because of the mental stack 2B has. So if you get caught by it, it is just unfortunate. You can obviously, if she continues to strike, you can always guard cancel off. But at full screen, which is probably the time you're going to see it the most, there are ways to kind of make 2B do it, and I'll show you one now. So we've got Gran here. Gran has a projectile. Obviously I was saying that this move can go through projectiles, and I'll show you that now. So he completely ignores them. So it's obviously very good for like getting around them and stuff like that. But this is a great way to kind of get 2B to actually do something, is by using projectiles. Maybe throw 1, maybe throw 2. Right, don't overdo it, because then obviously you get caught for it. Maybe 1 might be the answer because of the recovery and stuff like that. But they literally just like try to throw a projectile and then bait it. You can obviously catch her in the startup frames if you're quick enough, but it's all a kind of like a baiting game. So you do 1 and then just see what she does. If she throws it out, then you can run in and close the gap. Obviously characters like Gran have the 6XL where a 2B doesn't. So that's also really good for closing the gap against 2B. This move obviously is incredibly punishable, like I was saying. You can jump over it as well. The only thing that is active on the move is the tip, as you can see there. So yeah, it really is just about evading, trying to close the distance, 6XL. But yeah, that really is the best way to kind of deal with this move. Alright, so the next move we're going to talk about is Hammer. Hammer is really, really good, depending on the spacing that is being used. Now, if a 2B player is using it in your face, they aren't plus, they're -6, so you kind of want to counter anything they try and do after with a button that's quick reaching poke. That would be my advice. Now, if 2B has spaced out Hammer, she becomes +6, which is obviously completely different. And if you get counter hit after getting hit by Hammer, you get thrown into a combo, which you can confirm off of. So literally the way you deal with this move, which I'll get into in a minute, is by evading And interesting enough, from the range that you're going to be seeing hammer most, you can evade pretty much all of 2B's options, which I'll show you now. So if I do hammer, you can evade. Now 2B is still plus, but you're at a really good distance here, and obviously she's wasted 4 skill points just to do hammer. Obviously times you'll see hammer are after 5H, 5HH, 5HHH, it goes too far, so you are closer to them, so something to bear in mind. And 2M is another one. 2M spacing, it always does the hit afterwards, so you can evade after all of these from this distance. Now obviously she has other options, so I'll get into them now. What she can also try to do from this range, if she wants to do this, the grappling hook wire again, you can evade from this distance safely. She does this, you can evade. You can evade pretty much like all of her options at this point that she's going to be using. So to basically stuff her pressure, so that's something to bear in mind. Now she can counteract you by doing this instead. She can do a run up and grab you and throw, but getting hit by throw is obviously a lot better than getting hit by one of these, or getting hit by the wire, or getting hit by whatever. So that's the kind of way you need to look at it. Obviously if you think she's going to do run up, you can stuff her with your jabs, so that is something to bear in mind. But yeah, hammer, it all comes down to the spacing. So when she is at this spacing, just bear in mind you can evade through. I wouldn't cross over because you get caught up in the animation. Evade is your best option. Okay, so Mirage is obviously her DP. This move here, like Lancelot, I was explaining, keep an eye on her meter. When she has 50 meter, this becomes a threat, so you just need to play around it. This hits all the way around, so you kind of really do want to be careful where you are when you're facing against her. So obviously you'll get caught by it if you're not careful. It hits quite high up, but yeah, literally just keep an eye on her meter. It's a DP, so treat it as such, and then just punish it. Alright, so the next move we're going to talk about is Wave. Wave is essentially just a throw bait. It's 33 flames, so it is quite a slow move. But yeah, if you got a TB player who is doing this like continuously, because obviously a mental stack, it's quite hard to react to. But if they're doing it all the time and you think it's coming, you can anti-air it and get quite decent damage off it. See, that's 2B's one as well. 2B's anti-air is pretty decent. But yeah, you just have that and you can just get a nice little anti-air and get your combo started. It really is that simple to deal with this move. The next move we're going to talk about is Gravity Well. Essentially, you just put a little orb out and it'll suck the other opponent in anywhere on the screen to the point where you are. You don't have to accept that, you can walk back. My advice in this situation is literally just wait for it to end. If they do it in the neutral, it's very unlikely they'll do it in the neutral, but it is something that can happen. Times you'll probably see it are after knockdowns. So they'll do a situation like this where they'll put it down and they'll just keep doing this. They can keep continuously doing that because they're plus, but they're continuously pulling you back in because of the gravity well. And then obviously they can throw in a strike every now and then. And if you try and press a button between this, you do get beaten up. So that is something to bear in mind. So one thing I'd say about this is literally just either accept it or time it perfectly. Time your guard cancel, get him off you. Another thing you can do obviously is once you see this go down, you don't have to accept that, you can just DP. You know, you don't have to accept it. They can block obviously, but that's just the way fighting games work. But yeah, that is literally just this move that we're dealt with really. The thing to note about this move is once it's out, so you get 2B to put it out, if you just hit her, then it goes away, and it's on block, and that is also on hit, so if you just knock her out of it, then you'll be able to stop the move. Alright, the next move we're going to go over is Vault. There's this move, it literally puts a little tracking thing on you. It doesn't last forever, it eventually will go away. It has a fairly decent time, and it's probably there for about like 8 seconds probably. One thing to note, when it's out, it costs 5 bar, but it doesn't re-heal, so if this is out, you don't have to worry about the 2B regaining pressure, you know. If you're low health, this will be a move to kind of like sit and be patient about, but if you've got a good amount of health and you're nowhere near her, it might be okay to kind of like try and push the gap, take more risks. She can activate this move at any point with a press of a button. It's the skill button she has to press. She can't activate in the air though, so that's something to bear in mind. If she's jumping around or hanging from pod, which she can't even do, sorry, because she hasn't got him, then you'll be able to kind of move in then as well, so that's something to bear in mind. So times you're going to see this will probably be like with gravity as well, and I'll show you that now. So she throws you in the corner. She can put it on you while you're in a down state and then just continue her pressure. And when this is on you, it's completely true. There's like no way to do it unless she like delays it. Obviously, like I'm mashing buttons now and I can't get anything out. So she can kind of just use this to threaten Oki and stuff like that. So the best thing to do in this situation, if you're in pressure, is just a guard break. And the reason is because you won't be able to. It will get rid of the thing, so you're not completely like absolutely stuck to deal with it. It's mostly just like an end of round thing, like a threat, like, oh yeah, okay, I can do you now. It does like not that much chip, but the damage is enough to take you out if you have a pixel of health. So yeah, something to bear in mind. But this move is yeah, it's quite standard. It's like the same as the other one as well. Once you have it on you and you run it up and you block it, it will go away. So it is not too hard to deal with. Finally, we're going to talk about Bomb. This is this special move here. It's a tracking move like the other one in the game. All our other sort of style moves, like Vault, for example. And the way you kind of deal with this move is not too bad. She does it in the neutral. You see it coming. You can roll past it. Don't evade. You'll get blown up. So you can roll past it. Obviously, you are obviously going to be more advantageous depending on your location. But so if you see it coming, you don't have to hold it. Also, if she does it in your face, there's a gap, so you can blow her up for doing that. So you don't actually have to hold it. And this is even the same on Wake Up. Like if they try and throw it out, you don't have to hold it. So yeah, that really is just Bomb. It really isn't too hard to deal with. It does a lot of damage and stuff when you're like locked down. Like the chip damage is quite good. You know, there's a good amount of like mix. But if you're not blocking it, then you don't have to worry. Like it really is not too hard. So you don't have to block it like that. And if they try and throw it in a block string, you can just blow them up for it. Alright, so that is the 2B guide. Obviously this character is still very new, so I don't really have a good grasp right now of who might beat her and who might not. I think characters that are a bit quicker, have an easier way of getting around her nonsense, are going to have a much easier time against her. I think characters like Sheiks might have a good time against her, for example. I think Belia might be alright against her because he has a parry, so he can kind of deal with a lot of her full screen presence. Just stuff like that. So, but that's very much like that will come in time, I guess. But right now, I think that this is a good start. I think if you have 2Bs that are abusing certain moves and you can kind of pick up on what they're doing, then you'll be able to kind of punish them for doing those things. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I've got my Grimnir guide on the way soon, hopefully by Sunday. And that pretty much is it. Just yeah, let me know in the comments if there's any other characters that are annoying you. And yeah, I'll see you then. Take care, swines.